Welcome to Osgir, the Reconstructor. As far as the opening hand goes, yes, I will keep on this one. I like this. This is what we're wanting to see. We want to get some Pandemonium going today. So we've got that, check. We've got 2 lands, beautiful. We've got Soul Ring into Talisman, beautiful. And then we've got 3 in Dynamo, and we've got a sad robot. Sign me up. This is what we want to have happen. Well, I'm just trying to figure out how quickly we get down Pandemonium. So we'll see. Let's go get Flooded Strand down onto the battlefield. Let's go Flooded Strand. Let's get Plateau onto the battlefield. Let's go Soul Ring. And let's get off. Let's give... Well, actually give myself Affinity flashbacks of trying to play Affinity, or playing against Affinity in Modern, as we just dump a bunch of artifacts out on the battlefield. And I wonder how quickly the game is going to be over. So, anything else? Let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Yeah, I used to play Modern a long time ago. It was probably... I haven't played Modern in... Oh, my goodness. It's been a long time. I haven't played Modern... It's gotta been at least 3 years, I think. 3 or 4 years. Probably not 4 years. It's probably been at least 3 years. But I used to play a lot of Modern. Back when Affinity was, like, top tier. And I used to hate playing against Affinity, because they would just dump a bunch of stuff out. And the game would just kind of be over. It's like I didn't even get to play Magic. Alright, so let's go and get Quicksmith Genius. But I like that the deck exists in Magic. It's cool that that happens. So, anything else? Let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Osgir, the Reconstructor. Vigilance, 1 mana activation, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Then for an activated ability, which we will cover in just a second, as you're left being very suspenseful. Let's drop in Command Beacon, and let's try to outramp, because we end up going 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll cut us off. We can't go. We just want to get a land on the battlefield. If we end up going 3 in Dynamo, and then next turn we can get down Sad Robot. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like that a little bit better. Let's do that. Let's get 3 in Dynamo on the battlefield, because we're spending 4 mana to gain access to 3 mana. And we can draw and discard. Yeah, we'll do that. So let's go ahead and discard Sacred Foundry. We're okay with that. Marshflies. Okay, there we go. That's fine. We're cool with that. All right, so we got a 3/2, and then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. Now, getting back to Osgir. Activated ability, X, tap, exile an artifact card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are copies of the exile card. Activate only as a sorcery. We've got Priest of Titania out there. That is something we need to watch out for. We certainly do. That's going to be a lot of mana. So let's make the land drop for the turn, and we do need to grab a dual source. So let's go and crack Marsh Flats, and unfortunately it's only going to be Alpine Meadow. Which we don't, yeah, we can make that work. So we'll drop an Alpine Meadow. I'd rather have that out there. And let's get Osgir onto the battlefield. I think that's going to be a little bit more important. Because we might even be able to get down. Because we're still left with 3 total mana. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And what we can do is we can hopefully set up a favorable... Do we want to draw and discard? No, we actually like both of these. We're cool. We need to get a little bit ahead on card advantage before we start going for that. So, anything else, pass it over to our opponent. Playing against Ezuri, Renegade Leader. 1 green mana activation, regenerate another target elf. Then for a 5 mana activation, elf creatures you control get +3/+3, and gain trample until end of turn. So, once they do get down Ezuri, we do need to watch out for them being able to regenerate, especially with Pandemonium out there. And so, hopefully we can... figure some stuff. I don't know. We'll figure out how we can do this. Heads up, 100% heads up. This is like technically my 3rd game with Osgir, and as far as looping stuff out of the graveyard, different things like that, it's a little, I'm a little, little clunky on it. I'm not really entirely sure of the interaction. I mean, I know there's a lot of good stuff in here. It's like a chef given a bunch of ingredients. They know how to cook, but it's a little rough sometimes. All right, so we've got Osgir, so we're going to be able to exile and get double Soul Rings, and I think that's probably going to be one of the best bets right now. So let's do that. Let's just get Soul Ring out of the graveyard. We're going to get 2 copies of Soul Ring, which is just, look at that value play. Do we want to draw and discard off of Chromatic Lantern? I think we're okay with that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of Chromatic Lantern, draw into Bloodstained Mire. Quicksmith Genius will discard Bloodstained Mire, and then Slowbad, Goblin Tinkerer. Yeah, we don't really necessarily need that. So, how are we setting this up? So they did tap down Priest of Titania. They only have access to 1 green mana. And so what we can end up doing is we can drop in Pandemonium, but then they can Pandemonium our stuff. And in the world of 1/1s, do we really want to worry about that? I think let's give it a shot. Let's have some fun. All right, let's get down Pandemonium. Let's go Slow Bad. And get down Power Shard. Let's go Pandemonium. Yeah, let's go Pandemonium on Elvish Mystic. Let's see if they try to stop that or add green mana. Alright, so they're going to regenerate. Okay, that's fine. And then, yes, we'll definitely use that ability. Doesn't do anything. Let's go for Sad Robot. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our opponent's going to scoop it up on that. We don't have the win on this one. I just like that our opponent's gonna, yeah, we're gonna post this. So I don't know if we have the win on this one, but I'm gonna post this because I like Ezuri being afraid of Osgir and Pandemonium just entering the battlefield. That's an esports win right there. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Welcome to Osgir, the Reconstructor. As far as opening hand goes, yes, we will keep on this one. I like it. We've got some good stuff. We've got Ancient Tomb into Arcane Signet, into some Scry and some Scurry, some Fever. Then we got Sad Robot to get him land on the battlefield. I think that sounds like a good plan. I like it. I'd like to see a little bit more, maybe some fast mana, but, oh, there, I was about to say, if we could, it'd be nice if we had Pandemonium, and there it is. I'll take it. Thank you, Magic Gods. Let's go and lead off with Ancient Tomb. Let's go Arcane Signet and set the tone for this game. So we get an Arcane Signet, and then anything else we will pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Osgir, the Reconstructor. Vigilance. For 1 mana activation, sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Then for an activated ability, which we will cover in just a second if you don't believe me. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we just go for, yeah, Inspiring Vantage will come into play untapped. Yep, let's go for Osgir. Let's see if this is good. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Let's see if this is good. We don't really have any artifacts to go for, but we'll see if they got a 1 mana Force Spike or something. All right, they don't. Thank goodness. Anything else? Pass it over to our opponent. Man, there's one game where I got hit with like Force Spike, Mana Spike. I mean, any spike in the game of Magic, and that was, I still have shock value from that, or not shock value, but just, what is it? Triggers from that. Panic attacks from that game. That was a crazy game. Okay, so we got a 4/4. And we got a way to put something on top of our library. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We can still go for an activation. So actually, let's do this. Let's drop in Windswept Heath. Let's crack Windswept Heath. And let's go ahead and grab ourselves Plateau. That way it comes into play. Let's go for Sad Robot. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And we get an extra land on the battlefield, which is definitely something we want to do. And we can still go for the crack with Inspiring Vantage. So yes, we will definitely use that ability. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a, we're looking at double red right now. Let's probably just go ahead and grab probably just a red source. I think we're good on that. So we have that mountain enter the battlefield. And we can still go and push in because the first ability is not a tap ability. All right, so let's do that. So let's go and swing in with Osgir. I think we're good with that. Yeah, why not? Oh, and plus it has Vigilance, so why not? Because I totally knew that. Swinging in for 4, knock him down to 36, and then pass the turn to our opponent. I can't tell you how many games I've played where our commander has Vigilance, and I decide not to swing in, and like, why didn't you swing in? It's because I didn't want to tap him down. All right, opponent's going to go for Day of Judgment. Let's go ahead and, well, it doesn't really matter if we sacrifice, because then we get Enlightened Tutor, so yeah, that's fine. All right, we still get the card draw from Sad Robot. So yes, we'll return it back to the command zone. Cash in a card draw. Yeah, we'll just get a blind card draw. Worn Power Stone. Let's go for Enlightened Tutor and see what we want to grab. We want to get something that kind of gets this party started. So let's see. Let me leave this popped up for a second. I think what we'll end up doing is probably just end up going for probably for Mishra's Bauble. Maybe some nice card draw. We get some extra copies of it. Yeah, I like that. So we'll put Mishra's Bauble on top of our library. This is not a busted combo deck. I mean, we're trying to combo off, but end of the day, we're just trying to get some goofy stuff out there. So we drop in Clifftop Retreat, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, yeah, we can go Scry and Scurry, and then we'll put that on the bottom for right now. Let's get Osgir onto the battlefield. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. That'll be 1, 2 off of Arcane Signet. Get down Osgir. Get down Mishra's Bauble. Let's go and crack Mishra's Bauble. Look at the top card of our opponent's library. It's going to be a mountain, and then we get to draw another card. And then next turn, we can bring that out of the graveyard. Anything else, pass it to our opponent. So, We did cover our commanders, cover our opponent's commander, draw into Boros Guildgate, prevent all damage that will be dealt to Sevinne. Then, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard each turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So we do have Pandemonium. Let's see if we run into a 2/2 creature. Well, that's Cathartic Reunion. Let's get down Clifftop Retreat. Because if we can get this going, I kind of like that. So let's go. Let's tap down Ancient Tomb. And we'll discard Boros Guildgate and Alpine Meadow. And we're looking for a creature, but I don't think we can Pandemonium and do that. But we don't really have to worry too bad about their graveyard. So, ooh, Anointed Procession. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Do we want to set this up? That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we get down Thran Dynamo. Yeah, I like this. So we get down Anointed Procession. That's going to be, yeah, because we're going to end up with 4 copies. Man, Anointed Procession in this deck is just bonkers. All right, so let's go ahead and exile Mishra's Bauble. So that's going to be 4 copies of Mishra's Bauble, yes. We're going to look at the top card of our opponent's library. Yes, yes, yes. let's see if we untap. So we're going to click OK. And then look at the top card of our opponent's library. There we go. We know what's on there. Goblin Dark Dwellers. Look at the top card. There we go. We know what's on there. Goblin Dark Dwellers. Look at the top card of our opponent. There we go. Okay. All right. So we know what's on top. That's going to be 4 card draw. Nothing else we can do. We will pass the turn over to our opponent. So there we go. So let's go ahead and always yield to these triggers. Oh yeah. Mirror Battlesphere, lands, and 1,000-Year Elixir. All right. So we're getting somewhere. And the revealed zone was Goblin Dark Dweller. So 1, 2, 3. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. So unfortunately with Osgir, especially in 1v1, if people just scoop it up sometimes, and so if I've just got a random hodgepodge of Osgir decks, you know why? Because people just assume you're going to lose right away. So, so basically, what's going to end up happening next turn is this is the line of play that we're going to go for, and this is ultimately what the deck is built upon. So. You know, Goblin Dark Dweller's not going to be able to do much with it. So next turn we untap with a ton of mana. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so we got 11 mana. All right, so we drop in Pandemonium. That drops us down to 7 mana. And so we drop in Pandemonium. We go for Osgir activation on Sad Robot out of the graveyard. That's going to be 4 copies of Sad Robot. That's going to be 2 damage to Sevinne, 6 damage up top to our opponent, and then we just start grinding it out. We get Mirror Battlesphere down with Pandemonium, start dealing that extra damage to our opponent, and that is ultimately kind of what the name of the game is. We also do have 1,000-Year Elixir, so with the 1,000-Year Elixir, this is one of those that it gives us extra, you know, activations with Osgir. So we pretty much kind of not necessarily have the combo assembled, but we have the value, the overwhelming value assembled in Anointed Procession, 1,000-Year Elixir, and then going from there. Then you just kind of go off, you know, just having stuff like 4 copies of Mishra Bauble with Anointed Procession, getting 4 extra card draw. You get some of those little, like the 1 mana artifacts that give you mana and draw a card, you know, get 4 copies of that. That's ultimately what we're going for. And then getting a Pandemonium win. It's that's the name of the game. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks, bye. Welcome to Osgir the Reconstructor. As far as our opening hand goes, we got some good stuff. There's not really any sort of fast mana. We don't really have any sort of card advantage, but I guess technically Chromatic Stars card advantage. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. Our opponent's on the play, so hopefully the Magic Gods give us some good stuff. And I have not played against Gargos in a very long time, so I'm excited to see what they've got going on their side of the battlefield. So, see what we draw into for the turn, but if not, probably going to end up going for Chromatic Star. And then that way, yeah, we can get that down. Go, oh, yeah, Chromatic Star. Clicked on Vintage Fair when it went away. So add Chromatic Star, or get Chromatic Star onto the battlefield. And then anything else. And I always love it as a Magic player when somebody plays some of these, you know, stuff like this. They're like, all right, opponent's they're up to no good. I got to keep an eye on them. But yes, welcome to Osgir. Let's jump into what our commander's got going. So we're playing Osgir the Reconstructor for a 1 mana activation. Sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Then for an X activation tap, exile an artifact card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are copies of the exile card. Activate only as a sorcery. All right, so we run into Key to the City. And let's drop in. Let's get a Temple of Triumph going. A little Scry and some Scurry and some Fever and some Insanity. Chromatic Lantern, which, yeah, actually, we're cool with that. We'll put that on top. So let's go Chromatic Star, and we'll add mana to our mana pool. I mean, it doesn't really matter how we do this. All right, so we'll click OK. We get to draw a card, draw into Chromatic Star, and we've already made the land for the turn, and there's nothing else that we can do for that last mana, so we're going to click OK, and then anything else, pass it over there. Playing as Gargos, the Hydra Fighter. Vigilance. Hydra spells you cast cost 4 less to cast. Then, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, Gargos Watcher fights up to one target creature you don't control. Now, I built Gargos a very long time ago, and I do not remember... I remember it being a very fun commander deck, but I can't remember what made it... I made like a pretty fun version of it, but I can't remember what it was... Because I think that's what I'm trying to remember. With Gargos, there's a lot of spells that you can, I think, target. I think it's like Whip Silk. I think that's what made it fun, is you can just run some good value creatures, and then you can do something like whenever the creature becomes a target of a spell, so I guess the aura is a target of a spell, you can use Whip Silk to bring it back to get the fighting going. I think that's what it was. I think that's what made it so fun. So, but anyways, we got a clock going. There's a 5/5 out there. Let's go Marsh Flats. Let's go and grab ourselves a dual sword. Let's go and crack Marsh Flats. Grab ourselves a plateau, and there we go. Get play. It's always fun to play monocolor decks that kind of do something other than just elf tribal. Not that there's anything wrong with elf tribal, because you could pretty much build Gargos elf tribal and have Gargos be the elfy dragon leader if you wanted to. Anything else, pass it to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Commander online, they've got you covered. And I'm playing Magic Online, not Magic Arena. So, just giving you a heads up. I've had a few comments say, what program is this? So this is Magic Online. So just, there is a difference. So, and last but not least, I started a Patreon. But if you're keeping score at home, it is officially free time. So let's have some fun. And unfortunately, this is not looking so good. So we've got, like Mishra's Bauble, I guess. I mean, I guess we might as well. So we get down to Venter's Fair. And then we do have a 4/4. I'm just, man, if we get down Pandemonium, there's no way that we can, there's no way we can outrace that. Let's give Osgir a shot. I feel like Osgir is about to get punched in the face when we pass the turn. We don't know unless we get Osgir down. So if we're going to try to get out of this one, that's the only way we can get this done is, yeah, let's do that. So let's go Mishra's Bauble. With Mishra's Bauble, look at the top card of target player's library, then draw a card at the beginning. Yes, we'll look at the top card of our opponent's library, and then we get to draw a card. So it's going to be Hydra's Growth, so we know what's happening. And then anything else, pass it over to our opponent. So we'll get that Hydra's Growth popped up. So with Hydra's Growth, then actually they can get that down next turn for only 2 mana. Enchant creature, put a +1 counter on it, and that's going to be fighting poor Osgir. Just walked outside and gets snapped up by a dragon. But the win percentage for this deck hugely depends on having Osgir on the battlefield. So we just gotta, at this point, the game's not looking good, especially when you just got a bunch of Hydras in there. So we're just gonna try to get Osgir out there and kind of see what happens. But if not, then that's kind of what it is. But yeah, as far as this deck goes, I typically don't play a lot of Boros. Boros is not one of my favorite things to be doing in Magic. If I do end up playing because my 2 least favorite colors are red and white. A lot of that red and white is focused on combat, and so I don't enjoy winning through. I mean, I hope that makes sense. I don't enjoy winning through combat strategies. It's not something that brings me a lot of joy in Magic. Is it fun? Yes. The times I've done it, yes. But it's not something where I'm like, yeah, I want to keep doing this. And so I typically don't play a lot of Boros, but with this particular commander, when they do release a Boros commander that is non-combat focused, and on top of that has this really weird interaction, it's also why, and actually Brionne Stoutarm, I don't know when you're going to see it, but I'm kind of working on updating a lot of my older decks. So prime example, Brionne Stoutarm, that's a lot of fun. I love playing Brionne. It's fun to get down creatures and throw them at people. And our opponent gets down Primordial Hydra. Primordial Hydra is the first card, and I'm dating myself, M12, oh gosh, that's 10 years ago. Primordial Hydra was the first card that blew my mind in Magic. I mean, I built a green-black Golgari deck as my very first kitchen table deck, and I'd opened a pack of Primordial Hydra in M12, and yeah, that was some good stuff. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. All right, so opponent gets that down, but you'll see what it can do for next turn. So, all right, so we are looking at drawing some cards next turn, which I guess we just exile Mishra's Bauble. Not the best, and we're probably not long for this world because that's going to be 16 for next turn. We'll at least kind of showcase what we can do and have fun with that. So let's get down planes. Maybe we crack into double path, double swords. Crazier things have happened. All right, so we at least know Nature's Lore is on top. Mishra's Bauble again. And, you know, I don't know, who knows, maybe that does happen. And so we have nothing else in the graveyard. We do have Chromatic Star that we can get down. And so let's just end up going Thran Dynamo and hope that the magic gods give us double. But yeah, even when it becomes the target of a spell, we're going to miss out on it anyway, so it's not going to do anything. So we'll get down 1,000-year elixir, and then anything else, we will pass the turn to our opponent. Because that Primordial Hydra is going to turn into a 16/16. And that's going to be 24 with Gargos. Yeah, they've got it on combat damage. Boros Guildgate, Darksteel Citadel. Good game to our opponent on this one. Hey, good game to our opponent. Yeah, no removal. Yeah, Primordial Hydra. Yeah, you can see what I'm talking about. It's an 8/8. Turns into 16/16 and is a brand new player for a game. That is just absolutely wild. So yes, I love Primordial Hydra, and it should see a lot more. Should honestly see more play in Commander. There's a lot of times where you can. I mean, even if you just get it down for 3, get it down for 2. It's a 4/4. I mean, it's a 2/2. It's a 4/4. It's an 8/8. And you know, it's a lot of turns to get those things going, but that's the way Magic goes sometimes. So anyway, opponent's going to swing in. They're going to get on this one. And in fact, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. All right, bye.